I have 10 points that are questionable, things that people are querying about this birth. Not in any particular order, but here's the first one. No witnesses signed the birth. The royal family, no matter whether a lesser royal, always sign off the birth, have the birth signed off by an attending doctor or midwife, and nothing on this notice that has been put up outside Buckingham Palace. No doctors, no midwife, nobody in attendance, it seems. Two, Meghan refused the palace doctors throughout her pregnancy. She was offered the best gynecologists in the country. She refused, said she would have her own, although we were never told which ones were hers, if any. Three, she refused hospital. She did not want to give birth at the Lindo wing because she, in her words, didn't want to be like Catherine. But she wouldn't name any hospital. We had hospitals suggested, but her intention was to have the baby at home. Number four, Harry's awkward interview. There's nothing else to say about it except that the body language just shows that he is forcing a smile. He seems to be overexcited, laughing nervously throughout the interview. Prince William and Catherine's interview, they were really gracious, both of them. Beaming smiles from Catherine and from William. But you could see the seriousness and the stress in Catherine's eyes. And William, so professional, he was looking at the ground, composing his speech, and they pulled it off. But you could tell that, the fact that they didn't even mention Meghan's name, he referred to his brother, which was good. But very carefully worded. Very, very carefully worded, this speech.
Uncle, second time for me and you as well. Well, no, Uncle me, obviously, not you.
6, BBC Nicholas Witchell's interview. Poor man. A royal correspondent for years, and he basically, I think he wanted to say the truth. He wanted to say what he really felt, and he obviously had somebody yelling in his ear, and he was totally thrown off, and he obviously refused to say lies and ended his interview.
The way this royal birth was announced, something of a break with convention. And it is certain, of course. I'm so sorry. Let me just once again hand back to you, Ben.
All right, Nick. Thank you very much, Witchell. There
to cover for the fact that maybe Meghan didn't birth the baby from her own body. It's up to you. What do you think about that? So much out there has been worded very carefully, especially from Buckingham Palace. Number 8. First of all, they want privacy, Harry and Meghan, and they don't want anybody to see the baby for, I think they said, a couple of weeks, to have the time with the baby themselves. And then all of a sudden, we're getting an interview with the baby 24 hours later or 48 hours later. The Cambridge's tweet at 3 a.m. in the morning, apologising and saying a surrogate was used. So, and then the tweet was taken down. So was that the Cambridges feeling that they wanted to put the truth out there but didn't want to ruin any possible investigation? Number 10 in these questions. The labour was announced by Buckingham Palace after the birth. This could have been a mix-up to do with them not being told when she gave birth, but I would have thought she would have told them as soon as she supposedly had. But that's another strange thing. And the fact that the birth was so quick. Very short labour for someone her age having her first. And as far as we know, I mean, we haven't been told who delivered the baby, who was there even. Maybe we will tomorrow, but at this point in time, we know nothing about it. Meghan's baby's birth certificate, real or not? Here's the certificate, which looks very much like a copy. Very little on it. If you look there at number 14, Harry, there's no signature. No signature. Here's Catherine's and William's. You notice that Catherine is the Princess of the United Kingdom. Meghan has it on hers, although she's not technically. First of May 2018, and signature of Registrar, Deputy Registrar. Signature of informant there, and we have the signature of the registrar. On the left is Meghan's certificate, on the right is a copy. You'll have to go back and put that on hold. False document in order that it may be used as genuine. It's obviously when there was a king and not a queen, and makes me think about the letterheads that Meghan has used. Then that would be serious, it would come under this, I would think. The seal of the... And then you've got the seal of the Office of the Registrar, General of Births, Deaths and Forgery of the following seals, if committed with intent to defraud or deceive, shall be felony and servitude for any term not exceeding 14 years. And births, baptisms, marriages or deaths. So, I just think it doesn't look genuine to me. It could be just a copy that she's put out there, but yeah, I'll leave that with you. Hi everyone, Kelt here, bringing you part 3 of my new series using archives from 2019 concerning the question marks around Meghan and Harry's children and the pregnancy and birth. The first part of this video contains an article from The Sun which was put out at 14 minutes past 2 on the 21st of May 2019. The title of the article is, and I quote, "Meghan Markle's son Archie was delivered by the Countess of Bradford, the Portland's poshest consultant." And it goes on to say that Meghan's baby was delivered by the Countess of Bradford, and they are exclusively revealing this. It mentions that Penelope Law is married to the 7th Earl of Bradford, and she was once dubbed too posh to pull. In other words, she was too refined to deliver babies naturally. Normally they would say someone is too posh to push. Obviously, being on the other end of things, she would be too posh to pull. So play on words there. But she's also a top consultant obstetrician and gynecologist specialising in maternity. So it goes on to say, and I quote, "A member of the aristocracy herself, Dr. Penny, as she is known on her ward, was the woman trusted to deliver Prince Harry's first child, Archie, on May the 6th, a royal source told Fabulous Digital." It describes how she stepped in after Meghan, who was extremely overdue, was driven to the London hospital on Sunday night, dashing her dreams of a home birth. It also talked about how Meghan rejected royal gynecologists Alan Farthing and Guy Thorpe Beeston back in April, and these two had delivered all 3 of Catherine's children, and Meghan allegedly chose a female-led delivery team because she didn't want men in suits taking charge. Penelope Law was no ordinary doctor. She married into a family who owned 12,000 acres of land across Shropshire and Staffordshire. The article is here. You can read it. Pause and read it. It describes different things about her life. The article goes on to say that Meghan will call her baby Archie. And it goes on and it says, and I quote, "A Buckingham Palace spokesman said, 'In keeping with the couple's wishes for the details of the birth to remain private, we have not released or named the medical team.'" And it then says that the Portland also declined to comment, obviously because of patient confidentiality. And then it goes on to describe Meghan's £20,000 maternity ward with 4 poster baby cots, champagne on demand, and a lobster celebration meal. I'll leave you with the rest of the 2019 video. Very interesting how she wanted a home birth. This was put out there and then almost immediately disappeared from the internet once I think the Sun realised that they had been had, that Meghan was starting then to put out her own news, and I think this was the very start of what she was capable of. So I'll leave you with the rest of this from 2019. Apologies for the poor sound quality. I've tried to clean it up. Just come on here because I've just read something that's really surprised me. It's been taken out of the papers, or a couple of them. Let me read it to you a minute. It's still showing up in the world news online. It's already been taken down from a couple of other publications. So it's probably fake news, but this is still there now. As I'm reading it, this article is still there in the world news. Meghan Markle's son Archie was delivered by the Countess of Bradford, the Portland's poshest consultant. She was once dubbed too posh to pull. She's a top consultant obstetrician and gynecologist specialising in maternity. Well, what happened to the article that she put to, I think it was the Sun, saying that she had a home birth? And then she puts an article out with the Daily Mail and others saying that she gave birth in hospital. And now we've even got the name of the person who supposedly delivered the baby, and yet nobody signed it off. So it seems she's put this out, and some of the papers are checking it out, realising that it's fake, and then closing down the page. This one is still here. And then there are people saying that the Sun newspaper were very embarrassed by Meghan giving them a story about a home birth, and then the Daily Mail she gives the Daily Mail the official story about a birth at Portland Hospital, and now giving out a name of a gynecologist. And apparently the Sun literally had to stop the presses and try to call back print newspapers that had already been shipped. I mean, that's really embarrassing for a newspaper. The Sun does have a lot of information about Meghan, and they were the ones that put out the article about the guy that ghosted her, an English guy that she wanted to date before she met Harry. I'm not sure of his name. Matt Cardle. That's right. And it's just getting really interesting. So hope you enjoy this, and I'll speak to you soon. Hi everyone, Kelt here. Do you all remember this? Back in 2016, Harry issued a statement to protect his then American girlfriend, and he was warning then that he fears for her safety. A statement by the Communications Secretary to Prince Harry said that his girlfriend Meghan Markle has been subject to a wave of abuse and harassment. It goes on to talk about the racial undertones of comment pieces by the newspapers. Also talks about the outright sexism and racism of social media trolls and web article comments. It goes on about her nightly legal battles to keep defamatory stories out of papers, and her mother having to struggle past photographers in order to get to her front door. And then, most importantly, it talks about the attempts of reporters and photographers to gain illegal entry to her home and the calls to police that followed. The Toronto Sun said, cops confirm they've been called to the home of Harry's new girlfriend. It goes on to say that they had been called to Meghan's home. A constable, Victor Kwong, said, "We were called at one point this month for the actions of some media." And a photo, it goes on to say, a photo on the London Daily Mail website clearly shows a Toronto police cruiser sitting outside Markle's home. "We will not be discussing anything further. Sorry," he says. Another article in the Toronto Sun says Prince Harry's alleged girlfriend Meghan Markle seeks advice from Toronto cops. So she's actively seeking their advice. It talks about how she used to be able to walk her dogs at her leisure or head out of the door to a restaurant without people batting an eye. And then it goes on to say that, but after foreign paparazzi and local reporters staked out her Seaton Village digs this week, she called Toronto cops. It goes on to say that Toronto police officers who don't provide private security for VIPs watched her enter the vehicle, and media watched it too. She wasn't being hounded by the press. They've proved it. They hung around, they waited, they saw nothing. They also allegedly saw no signs of any break-ins by the paparazzi or any disturbance whatsoever, according to what she had complained about. It goes on. One photographer said police approached media Thursday after Markle complained to them. She thought photographers were trying to break into her laneway garage. There was also some talk that Buckingham Palace had tried to convey a message to British reporters to back off, but the palace wouldn't confirm that. No comment from the royal household, Senior Communications Officer David Pogson said in an emailed statement from London on Friday. So there was nothing going on. Nothing was happening there. She made this up. And then Prince Harry puts out a statement which is very unlike him and which has only been done once before by Prince William, when paparazzis were using telephoto lenses to capture photographs of Catherine sunbathing topless while on holiday, and actually while thinking that she was secure to do this. This was done without her permission, and quite rightly Prince William did take this further and issued a statement. Meghan's was proved to be false. These things weren't happening. There was no break-in. There was no paparazzi hounding her. There are no photos of her with any paparazzi hounding her. So Harry puts out this statement. 3 years on, they're still being mentioned. She's still using that now, and still making things up about the paparazzi and the media hounding her. I think they're running in the opposite direction. She contacts them to come and take the photos. I've been given permission to share this information from somebody in the know, and it goes as follows. Word is Meghan Markle was a nightmare for them. She called them constantly about people stalking her, needing the police to come out, etc. The office staff started drawing straws for who would have to deal with Meghan because she called so often and was rude on the phone. The police multiple times had to go investigate lurkers or alleged lurkers at her house. Nothing was ever found by the Toronto Police Department. I read once that she told her friend that they can't go to lunch because of paparazzi. This was like her first season as an actress. So it seems nothing's changed. It seems as if she's still using the stories of the paparazzi being hounded, pestering her. She's still using it now, saying that they were hounding her in Vancouver Island. And she's still playing the race card and still playing the Diana card. They both are putting out statements about Diana still. So even way back then at the very beginning, before she was even engaged, she was seemingly playing the same games. So let me have your thoughts on this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Also, if you haven't already, come on over to my Celt Creates channel, where I have a variety of things. ASMR, music, readings, art demos. Please subscribe, ding my bell for more alerts when I post new videos, like if you liked it, and share. Thanks. Hi guys, I've just come on here because I've just read something that's really surprised me. It's been taken out of the papers, or a couple of them. Let me read it to you a minute. It's still showing up in the world news online. It's already been taken down from a couple of other publications. So it's probably fake news, but this is still there now. As I'm reading it, this article is still there in the world news. Meghan Markle's son Archie was delivered by the Countess of Bradford, the Portland's poshest consultant. She was once dubbed too posh to pull. She's a top consultant obstetrician and gynecologist specialising in maternity. Well, what happened to the article that she put to, I think it was the Sun, saying that she had a home birth? And then she puts an article out with the Daily Mail and others saying that she gave birth in hospital. And now we've even got the name of the person who supposedly delivered the baby, and yet nobody signed it off. So it seems she's put this out, and some of the papers are checking it out, realising that it's fake, and then closing down the page. This one is still here. And then another article. Let's have a look. Then we've got, and then there are people saying that the Sun newspaper were very embarrassed by Meghan giving them a story about a home birth, and then the Daily Mail she gives the Daily Mail the official story about a birth at Portland Hospital, and now giving out a name of a gynecologist. And apparently the Sun literally had to stop the presses and try to call back print newspapers that had already been shipped. I mean, that's really embarrassing for a newspaper. And the Sun does have a lot of information about Meghan, and they were the ones that put out the article about the guy that ghosted her. An English guy that she wanted to date before she met Harry. I'm not sure of his name. Matt Cardle. That's right. And it's just getting really interesting. So hope you enjoy this, and I'll speak to you soon. I'm still working on other stuff, but I just had to get this out there. Okay. Bye. Hi everyone, Kelt here, bringing you number 12 in my new series of questions about the Harkles, where I go back into my older videos and try and fill in on various points. This is for all my new subscribers who probably don't know about a lot of the history and the details around it, and also very much requested by many of my old subscribers who like to go back over some of the historical info. Well, one subject a lot of you wanted me to talk about was the subject of Meghan taking photographs at Kensington Palace. I believe this was not one event. She was caught twice. The first time was in the very early days before she and Harry were engaged, and it was when she was staying at Nottingham Cottage with him, very much under the radar at the time. She was travelling between Toronto and London, and she and Harry had a very much long-distance relationship in those early days. And I understand that she was caught by staff who alerted Prince Charles after seeing her either on security camera or they actually saw her taking photographs of various private areas in Kensington Palace of valuable artefacts. It was said that it was with a view to sell, and I believe it was the photographs she intended to sell, although there has been a rumour saying that she was going to sell whatever artifacts she found. I don't see how that would be possible, but that was a rumour. I was always under the impression that it was the photos that were to be sold, but that information would make much more sense with regard to the second incident, which I'll talk about in a minute. She also was sending those photos via her phone to her best friend Jessica Mulroney and saying, "Guess where I am?" allegedly. After this first incident, she was sent back to Canada by Prince Charles. The second incident, where she was actually caught red-handed, was not long after she had met Catherine and William, and she apparently got caught by William, who had been alerted by their nanny, Maria, as Meghan had been taking photographs on her phone of Charlotte while she slept in her bed. William was understandably furious, and obviously Catherine, as any mother would. She was completely shocked, and they both developed an intense distrust of Meghan after this. Nothing was done at that time. She was not sent away, but she was monitored closely. This was when it appeared to the public that Meghan was making one gaffe after the other, and the royals seemed to be on her case all the time. She seemed to be quite restricted. Is there any wonder why? Although the Queen again appeared to be doing nothing. What followed was that Meghan was called to a meeting about her royal work, which she did not attend. The palace aides told the Queen, who was not happy, and the Queen called for a meeting with Meghan, and Meghan refused, saying that she had a prior engagement. This is not something you do to the Queen. The palace aides knew that Meghan was going to attend a meeting and informed the Queen, who instructed them to cancel this meeting under order of the Queen. So they did this, and when Meghan arrived at this meeting, which was important to her, there was no one there. Meghan was apparently furious, and her grudge towards the Queen developed from that time. She had lost control and hated it, realised that the Queen was the one in control. The taking of photographs of a child without the parents' permission, who just happens to be in line to the throne and in her bedroom asleep, is unheard of and shocking for everyone, and it was the ultimate concern. It was always in the back of their minds what she was capable of. I just point out here that Meghan had apparently also been making cookies and giving them to the Cambridge children. I think this was later after they had married. Whether it was without the Cambridge's knowledge, I don't know, but I imagine the children would say, "Auntie Meghan's given us cookies." But it might have been innocent, or maybe just a way to get the children to like her. Is it any wonder that Catherine and William wanted to keep well away from her? Well, back to the power struggle with the Queen. It has been said that Meghan was sent packing and that Sophie and Edward were flying to New York for various events and were instructed to make sure that Meghan was on the plane and landed in New York. However, the Wessex's trip to New York was 2022, so that is several years later. I was also told that Meghan definitely was on that plane with the Wessexes. And Meghan was supposed to have children at that time, and there was no report of any children seen at either airport leaving nor arriving with her. So this time it seems she wasn't sent away right after the bedroom photo incident, but after a few years of incidents culminating in the persistent rebelling and pushing against the Queen, and the refusal to attend the meeting with the Queen was the final straw. Some have said, why was this not brought up at the Oprah interview when Meghan was complaining about her treatment by the royals? Obviously, it would not be brought up because it would paint her in a very bad light, because Oprah would have been sure to have asked the reasons why she had been sent away, and it would point eventually to the deep reason, which was the concerns for the Cambridge children. I'm not sure of the timeline, but the fact that many of us remember that Meghan was overheard saying to friends at a social event that she and Harry were just one plane crash away from the throne. This must have been a contributing factor in the Queen's decision. So the timeline is not clear, but I understand the events happened and that there were 2 separate incidents where she was caught taking photos. So to summarise, the first was when she was only just dating Harry, lived in Toronto and hadn't yet met William and Catherine, and it was taking pictures in the main palace of antiques. And the second was when she had not long met them and was invited over for dinner and was discovered in Charlotte's bedroom taking photographs of her sleeping. I'm not 100% certain on this as regards the timeline, but it's making more sense than it being one event. So it seems to me that the first time she was sent back to Toronto by Charles for taking photos of items in the main palace, and the second time was for taking photos of royal children in William and Catherine's apartment at Kensington Palace. It's possible it all happened around the same time during that first time she visited, and if there's any information out there proving this, then I would happily accept that I'm wrong in my assumption. This is the culmination of quite a bit of research, and I may be wrong with some of it, especially the timing, but in general, I think it gives an idea of the absolute brazen behaviour of Meghan and how concerning it must have been for those around her, and especially William and Catherine. So let me have your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Hi everyone, Kelt here, bringing you number 15 in my new series of questions regarding the Harkles and their alleged offspring. Today I'll be talking about Meghan having signed a prenup, and that allegedly the Queen insisted or demanded right before the wedding. I was told something was signed before the wedding. I don't know whether it was a prenup, but I think it's been talked about so much that everybody's assuming it was a prenup. I don't see what else it would be. I don't know whether it's true or not, because it would have had to be under duress, and then it wouldn't be legal if it was signed under duress. The fact that the Queen was looking so cross with Meghan at various times during the wedding ceremony, I think would show maybe that she hadn't signed anything. Though I was of the understanding that the Queen's serious glare at Meghan was due to the battle before the wedding, the one about the tiara and maybe the children's bridesmaids' dresses, all that would have caused tension. So it was probably a number of things. I have no proof that she signed or didn't sign the prenup, but I think if she signed anything, Meghan would believe that it had no standing. I think she would have not complied with anything she signed anyway, because in her mind, she was bigger and better than anyone else. But I think also the main reason being she knew that she had married Harry in Africa when they had hardly been dating very long, and she managed to get Harry to marry her out there. This was one of the first few dates, I think. It was the third date, I believe, that he took her to Africa, to Botswana, his favourite place. I was told that they had some sort of ceremony out there, which was a marriage ceremony, and a local Christian pastor in the village performed it, was sworn to secrecy, and they consummated this marriage under the stars. Meghan had used every rule in her favourite book, and I'm not sure of the title of the book. I don't remember. It was something to do with how to make a man marry you, or how to make him fall in love with you. And one of the rules was not to have sex on the first date or the second. I haven't read the book, but there were a lot of rules in it, and Meghan swore by this book apparently, according to her friends, and was reading it before she dated Harry. So Meghan would have made sure that Harry knew that she would not want to have sex outside of marriage, because that was another thing. When it suited her, she would use any faith that she had at the time to make herself seem a little bit more worth pursuing. Having already looked into the fact that she would have to join the Church of England before she married Harry, remember when she married Trevor, she had a Jewish ceremony. Before that, she was supposed to be Catholic, I think. Was it for the other guy? I'm not sure. I've honestly lost track. She made sure that they had things in common and that he had found his true match in heaven. And when he said that the stars were aligned during the engagement interview, that was all part of it. But remember that they still broke up after this amazing trip to Botswana and the consummation of what they believe is their true marriage under the stars. Because Harry was totally bewitched by that point. So sometime later, Harry tried to break this off with her because he realised what she was truly like, and she was having none of it, which was when she followed him to his friend's wedding in Jamaica. Meghan was originally invited as a +1, but Harry in the meantime broke it off with her, but she still turned up. So she still believed that she was still married to him because of the ceremony that they had in Africa. I don't know if it was legal, but she would have convinced him or tried to convince him that it was spiritually a marriage. And I believe he must have really seen the true nature of Meghan to have broken it off with her after that. And also after having said originally how it was love at first sight. Remember at the engagement interview, to take her off to Botswana on the third date and to talk about the stars being aligned. This was at the engagement, but in between that and the engagement, there must have been a lot that happened. From believing that she is his soulmate and they are destined to be together, and that everything was perfect from those first few dates and their African marriage, enough happens for Harry to see her true nature, and he makes a desperate attempt to end it with her, and he wasn't able to. At the Toronto Invictus Games, where she turned up with Marcus Anderson, and there were cameras set up, which Meghan had arranged, Harry spotted and was angry about, and there was definitely some big thing that happened there, whereby Marcus and Doria were supporting Meghan, and something big was said to Harry. There's a series of photos. I have a previous video, and you can see the change in the mood. And most people are of the thinking that it was then that Meghan told Harry that she was pregnant. She was desperate to hang on to him, and we know the story from then on. This is why she was welcomed into the family and welcomed to Christmas at Sandringham before they were married, which is unheard of, because the Queen knew that they had already got married. No couple was invited to Sandringham to stay with the royal family unless they were married. Hence the marriage in the chapel was not the genuine one. This is why Harry did not use his proper name, and neither did Meghan. It was not a legal marriage and not the official marriage. The real marriage happened back in Africa, in my opinion. So Meghan knew that if she signed anything, it wouldn't be valid anyway, because the wedding ceremony wasn't valid. Nothing about the wedding needed to be official, apart from looking the part for the public. I believe that this is why Meghan said that they got married 3 days before. Remember that ceremony which was supposed to have happened with the Archbishop in Nottingham Cottage Garden, and Meghan wanted people to know that was their real special wedding ceremony. I think she did that because she knew that her real wedding was in Africa a year or more before this, and didn't want people to think that the ceremony that they saw was the real one, because of the discrepancies in it that a lot of people would notice, or because she loves to have secrets. Meghan must have been absolutely thrilled to have managed to talk Harry into this. Think of it, a prince of the realm being talked into marriage, and he going like a lamb to the slaughter. She had him in his most favourite place in the world, Botswana, and she made sure that she was everything he wanted, used all her skills, and all he had to do was marry her. And she arranged for the pastor and the witnesses. She did the whole thing, and Harry went along with it. Very willingly, I believe. My question, and I only have one, is where were his bodyguards? They wouldn't be in the tent with them, for sure, but they must have been around the rest of the time. Where were his bodyguards when they actually got married? So I believe that there are many other reasons why Meghan feels she has a right to walk all over the royals. Her sense of entitlement knows no bounds. I think she really believed she was going to be queen. The fact that she was in the process of taking a selfie while trying to position herself on the Queen's throne is probably not a surprise to many of you, after all that has transpired. One of you pointed out in the comments about her trying to sit on the throne and being caught in the process, and I managed to get some more information on that. She was trying to take a selfie, and just as shocking as Ghislaine Maxwell and the actor Kevin Spacey having their photo taken on the thrones, probably taken by Jeffrey Epstein or Prince Andrew, on the Queen's throne and on Prince Philip's throne. As I said, look outside of the royal family regarding Meghan. So, let me have your thoughts on this alleged prenup. Do you think she signed anything? And what do you think about the Africa marriage? It does make sense to me. So, let me have your thoughts. I know this is old stuff, but a lot of you are enjoying me bringing it up because it is a refresher. It's good for the new subscribers to hear some of the stories they probably don't know and the information around it. I remember at the time hearing quite a lot of information around that Africa trip. I think a lot of us have forgotten a lot of the information around that. The fact that it was a Christian pastor that Meghan had sought out while they were out there. So she certainly worked fast, didn't she? Let me have your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Much love. Bye. Hi everyone, Kelt here. After the speculation around what happened between Meghan and Catherine and little Charlotte, the real story behind what happened at the bridesmaids' fittings has now come to light. This information is now out there on the internet and has come via a woman who worked at Givenchy during the time of that incident. This information is alleged to be on good authority, and having read through it, it does have an air of authenticity about it. It's up to you to decide. This member of Givenchy's staff said that Meghan mistreated the staff and acted like a diva. It was also said that she did not pay for the wedding dress and that it was likely that Prince Charles did. It was said that Meghan didn't like the Givenchy dresses and could not decide on either a dress nor a veil, and was constantly changing her mind, resulting in her wedding dress not fitting her properly, as most of us noticed that it was too large. Some were speculating that they were allowing for an alleged pregnancy, but it seems now as if it was just her indecisiveness and constant changing of her mind which led to the dress not fitting, as it was all very much a last-minute rushed job from the sound of it. It was said that while Meghan was at Givenchy, trying to choose her dress, she would scream at the staff. Remember that we have also heard about Meghan screaming in other scenarios. Is everyone making this up? Highly unlikely, I think. So it was said that Meghan screamed at the staff, telling them that their work was terrible and that she would allegedly make them work overtime just to then criticise their work and move on to another dress. She was also said to have slapped an employee. The staff member said that they felt Meghan actually enjoyed treating them so badly and that she also seemed to enjoy humiliating them. This was also said by palace aides regarding Meghan's time as a royal. The staff of Givenchy were said to be completely unnerved when they had to work with Meghan, as she could not be appeased, it was said. Little Princess Charlotte, who was almost 3 at the time, was made fun of and mocked by Meghan and also by Jessica Mulroney's daughter Ivy. So the story goes that Meghan did not want to have Princess Charlotte nor Prince George as bridesmaid or page boy at her wedding. That makes sense because they are true blood royals, something Meghan would never be.
It was said that Meghan was told by the palace that she had to have Charlotte and George at the wedding and that there was no choice regarding that. Meghan apparently mocked Princess Charlotte's voice and even called her chubby during the dress fitting. She also encouraged Jessica Mulroney's daughter Ivy to make fun of Charlotte as well. Meghan seemed to make a big thing of Ivy and fawned over her, saying that she was going to be the best flower girl and that Princess Charlotte should learn from Ivy how a nice girl behaves. And it says in this article that this information came from the person who worked at Givenchy at that time. When I read this, I was shocked, but it does make sense after seeing the childhood video of Meghan at her friend's birthday party where she was ruling the roost and bossing everyone around. I could well imagine her doing this. Apparently, when word of this reached Prince William and Catherine, they took Charlotte out of the bridesmaids' dress fittings and selections, which makes total sense. It was said that Charlotte was the one who was crying at the dress shop because she was being mocked by Meghan and Ivy. This person also says that Jessica Mulroney was observed being mean and making fun of Charlotte. This article then shows the two photos of one on the way into the wedding and another photo on the way out of the wedding, and they definitely speak 1,000 words. Princess Charlotte's dress didn't fit her properly because she had been pulled out of the fitting. It was said that because of the way she had been treated, that Catherine and Prince William pulled her out. This person also says that the little bridesmaid shoes hurt them, but Meghan refused to let them wear socks or tights, and Meghan told the staff at Givenchy that these little British girls, not Ivy Mulroney, hadn't been raised well, so they were spoilt brats. So it was said that they all had their feet pinched by those shoes. I just want to add something here, which is by Meghan singling out these little British girls. Isn't that using the R card? Isn't that being racist? You tell me. The florist was chosen at the last minute by Meghan, which is why the flowers don't match with the dresses. The head wreath was made for each bridesmaid, but they weren't told about this, and Princess Charlotte was handed a floral wreath in the car on the way to the wedding, which is why it didn't fit well. Ivy Mulroney was singled out by Meghan, who kept saying that she was the special one and her little maid of honour, which was why Ivy would not be wearing a floral crown like the other bridesmaids. So Meghan made a big deal about Ivy Mulroney being special because she did not have a crown on her head. This person says that Meghan made it clear that none of the other girls, including Remy and Rylan, who were children of her college friend, were as good or as special as Ivy. So it was totally understandable why Prince William and Catherine kept Prince George and Princess Charlotte with them and didn't allow them to walk out of the church with the other children. And then Princess Eugenie did a wonderful thing 6 months later. When she married Jack Brooksbank, she made a point of making Princess Charlotte feel special. The wedding photo which was released shows this to the whole world. People are saying that this is so believable the way Meghan behaved because of the way she treated people in Admiralty House in Australia, and the chopping and changing her mind as regards the dresses sounds very much like when she had several members of staff make banana cake just so that she could choose the best one and present it as her own. So this person from Givenchy sounds authentic, and why would she put this out? What does she have to gain from this? It's as if more people are coming out and telling their stories, which gives others encouragement to come out and share theirs. Do you think it's possible it happened this way? Let me have your thoughts on this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Please subscribe, ding my bell for more alerts for more videos, like if you liked it, and share. Bye.